What's up, y'all? Another fly time video. This one's gonna be my version of the Copper John Nymph. Alright, so on this one, just use a nymph hook. You can use any size hook or nymph hook that you want, any size that you feel is the right size for the area you're gonna be fishing. I believe this is a size 10, if I'm not mistaken. It might be a size 8. I'd have to double check. But just a standard nymph hook. I've got a gold bead head on there, and I've got a little bit of lead wire for weight up where the thorax of the fly is going to be. And let me go ahead and get this here focused so we can get it going. First step, as always, tie in your thread and get that lead wire secure. See how it's rolling right there. Get a few wraps on it, it'll secure it nice and tight. And I just broke my thread. Forgot I did that. Not a problem. I'm glad it happened now and not halfway through the fly. And also, now that I did this, I actually recorded this video a few hours ago. I forgot I did that, but when I re-secure the thread, it's got this white, like, powder on it. It's kind of weird. Don't know what it is. Not exactly sure if it's like a factory defect or whatnot, but it disappears and it works just fine. So go ahead and get the thread back through your bobbin and then start over. But right there I was looking at it, and you'll see it on the fly here. It's kind of like this white crusty powder stuff flying off. It's kind of interesting. I almost stopped and pulled it out and started over, but it was only a small section, so oh well, just kept it on there. But anyway, second take, go ahead and secure it on there. And then the first step after that, well, I guess it wouldn't be the first step now, would it? I'm special. The next step is going to be to attach your tail, which is going to be some brown goose buyouts. 2 of them. You're going to put in a V shape at the base of the hook where it starts to curve, starts to bend. Just go ahead and snip you off 2 of them. The longer you can get them, the better. It's a lot easier to work with them when they're longer, so try to get some longer buyouts off of the feather to make your tail. And then this is just one variation of this fly. There are probably literally hundreds of ways to tie this, different colors and materials. So don't think that, oh man, I don't have brown goose buyouts, I can't make this fly. That's not true. You can use any color, really. I have a black variation that I like to use, black and green, gold and black, copper and black, just black, red and black. I mean, the possibilities are endless. If I did a video on all the Copper Johns that I tie and that I like to use, it would be well over an hour long. There's just a lot of different variations that work good, and there's really no right or wrong way to do it. As long as you got the basic, pattern down, there's just a lot of different possibilities, and you'll see the way I do it. If you like it, you can go ahead and do the same, but feel free to change it up. And maybe, I'm not expecting a lot of people to comment, but maybe comment some ideas or some different ways that you do yours, and I'll try them out and maybe throw them in another video. It's always cool to get some advice or whatnot in the comments, so let me know. See what we can do. But trim off the tag ends. I like to take them all the way up to where the lead starts. You don't want to put it, another thing that I would change on the next one, I would do differently, is you don't want it real thick up to the where the lead starts. You want it to taper a little bit, but I think another thing I would do differently next time is use a smaller diameter thread, and then just kind of use a little bit less wraps and whatnot up to the thorax of the fly where the lead starts. So just an idea. This works fine, and you'll see the end result. I mean, it's a good looking fly, so it'll catch fish. But just when you're tying flies, you'll notice things like that maybe I'll do differently next time. Learn from it. Not necessarily call it a mistake, but I would definitely say it's a learning experience. So right now what I'm doing is I'm getting the wire that I'm going to use for the body of the fly. And another reason why you want to make it as even as possible is wire. When you wrap a hook shank with wire, it'll show any flaw underneath. It'll be a bump or an uneven section. You want this to be as tight and as uniform as possible. So this isn't the greatest wire wrap that I've done, but it'll work. Also, you can see a kink right there in the wire, and that doesn't help. But go ahead and secure that down to where the tail starts, and again, I like to run it all the way up to where the lead starts, and then do tight, even tight as you can wraps, getting it as close to the last wrap as possible. And on this one I'm using copper wire, but like I said before, I've used, if you could think of it, I've probably used it. Just wrap it all the way up until you get to the lead, and then you'll secure it in a few wraps. And then I've always trimmed it off, and I actually cut the wire like just long enough, but I've always trimmed it off to where with it, I've always trimmed it off with scissors, and I've actually stopped doing that. And I started using the helicopter technique, where you just helicopter it off and snap it, because it will dull the blades on your scissors really fast. Next step is you're going to want to grab a piece of mylar tinsel, and that's going to be part of the section that you're going to fold over the top to finish off the fly. So you're going to want to grab mylar tinsel, and then you need a kind of body material. And I actually tried something that I don't know if it's going to work on this one. I've never done it before. I took a small strip of electrical tape, black electrical tape. You'll see. It's kind of hard to tell that's what it is, so I figured I'd mention it on here, because if it works good, then it might be, you know, an easy way to do body material on the fly. So, but I'm trying to get my tinsel. It was stuck on there. I made a new setup for organization where I took my tinsels and threads, certain threads and whatnot. That was my wife's hand. That was interesting. I don't have colored fingernails, I promise. But I put them on a piece of 18 gauge hot fence wire and made like a stick. I'll show it in my next video. It's kind of cool. Good idea. Keep them organized, and it just works really good. So far I think it's working pretty good. So, but anyway, secure that on there. You want it centered on the top of the fly, and then that black piece that I mentioned is electric tape. It works really good, and it's sticky. So you put the non-sticky side down on the fly, and then when you fold it over and secure it, you're actually going to be using the sticky part of the tape, and it helps hold everything down. So that's why I'm hoping it works, because it's kind of a good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. So I don't think it has any kind of chemicals in it that are going to deter the fish. So we'll see if it works. Next thing, grab a strand of peacock herl, snip off the end of that, and secure it in there. That's going to make the thorax of the fly right up next to where the wire starts, and then just do some tight wraps with that all the way down to the bead head. You know, the next step is another, you know, you could pretty much do whatever you want feather wise. You're going to take some some thicker fibers on it to make the legs or the wings or whatever they're supposed to be on the fly. I have a tendency to unravel my peacock curl, so I like to throw a whip finish in there. Kind of holds it in a little tighter in case the thread moves up. It won't loosen up. So, but I just found a cool feather. I like the way it looked. The fibers were thicker, and I just had a cooler pattern on it. So I just plucked one of those off of there, and then you're gonna want to try to form a V. I don't know the name of the technique or whatnot, if there even is one. But the best way to describe it is you snip off the tip of the feather and it forms a V. So right there, I'm snipping it off. And you'll see, I'll show it in a second. But it makes it a lot easier to just secure it and make even looking legs or wings or whatever you need to make. It just makes it a lot easier. So you end up with a piece that looks like that. And then secure that down there, just like that. Couple wraps, pull it over, couple more wraps, and then pull that electric tape over, making sure that all the fibers are sticking out where they're supposed to be, where the barbels of the feathers are sticking out even. Go ahead and stick that down there. Take a solid wrap or two, make sure it's even, and then pull your mylar tinsel over and do the same thing. And then once you have it secure on there with a couple of wraps, go ahead and pull it up and do some tight wraps up against the bead. And then what you can do is snip off the tag ends of your body material and mylar tinsel. And then get your whip finish tool, throw some whip finishes in there. It's a lot easier if you use gravity in your favor. That's why I adjusted the fly up a little bit. You don't want it sliding off the bead and going into the eye of the hook. Then do a few secured wraps, and then another few secured wraps, and you're almost done. A lot of my videos I'll mention, you know, oh well, you can use head cement on this, yada yada yada. This one I always do, and you want to use a thicker gel type head cement because you're going to build up the top of the body, make kind of like a shell with it. And then when you're doing that, put it on there a decent amount, and then taper it down to where the wire starts. Don't be afraid to get it in on the wire. It's not going to do any harm to the fly, and it actually helps secure everything down as well. I've seen guys use hot glue for this part. It does seem to work, but it doesn't bond as good to the fly in my opinion. The head cement works a lot better, and as long as it's thick enough. You can't really use like a varnish. You'd have to use probably 20 layers of varnish to make it work, but if you have a thick enough head cement, it works just fine. So just like that. That is the Copper John, at least one of my versions of the Copper John. Great trout fly. So that's going to do it for that fly, guys. I appreciate you checking in with us. Go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, and share. And until next time, you guys take it easy.